Hi, welcome to Let's Get Growing. We're shooting in a rather unusual setting today. It's a gorgeous morning. We're shooting early in the morning, which is the best time of the day, I think. And we're shooting in a pyramid, sort of, at Richter's Herbs. And my guests are Mr. and Mrs. Richter. And we have a very interesting show for you today, so I hope you'll stay with us and find out a little more about this pyramid greenhouse and the herbs that they grow in it. First, thank you for having us come to your pyramid. Wherever did you get the idea for a pyramid greenhouse?
Well, the idea is quite old. You know, I heard so many about the pyramids all over the world, Egypt, yeah. And also there was quite a nice magazine in the market printed in California. But did give me the idea to try it, and that's what we did.
Okay. Can you give us the proportions of this house that you have built?
Now, that particular one, the base is 24 feet, and the height in the center is about 15 feet 6 inches.
And it's a very simple construction. Perhaps you could describe it to us a little bit, the framework and then the covering.
Well, my framework here can be built with 2x4s only also, but I made it so it will stand up at least another 10 years. And
so you have reinforced it then with steel?
With steel, yeah. Yes. Galvanized steel inside and also 2x4s to fasten the plastic on.
Okay. Now, just to clear everything up, this isn't heated. Will you explain when you actually use this?
Well, the plants, what you see here, most of them, they're here all winter. The
so
greenhouse...
perennial plants?
Perennial, yeah. Yes. That greenhouse is not heated. No. And they also want to see what will survive over the winter in that greenhouse.
Okay. So there's no heating, you know, and no way of heating this besides the sun. But tell me about... what about cooling? Many people who have never had a greenhouse or a plastic house, as we should really call them, shouldn't we? They make them, and all they think about is making it warm. They don't think about cooling it off, and that's probably more important, isn't it?
Well, in that case here, I have the doors arranged. The prevailing wind comes from the north side, so I have a door on the north side and one on the south side, so we always have a draft in here.
And then you have some windows as well.
Well,
do they work?
I never opened those windows. I never had to open them. Well, yeah.
But okay, so that's interesting. So you have to sort of take it into account your prevailing winds and where you have located your house. This pyramid shape now, we have heard about pyramid power and how everything seems to be better in a pyramid. What differences have you found with these plants that you have growing in here? Have you noticed any significant difference?
Well, the difference is here it is much, much earlier than in any other unheated greenhouse. Right. That greenhouse, the pyramid, has to be located exactly to the magnetic north.
Okay, so how did you place it then, so that what part of it faced north?
One side, doesn't matter, this is square anyway. Yeah. One side, in that case, I located the east side exactly to the north. I see. To the magnetic north.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. And so if someone wanted to build something like this in their backyard, if they had a larger property, or could it be built smaller?
Could be built from 4 feet up to maybe 30 feet.
Oh, okay. And so how would it be used? Now, we're using it today as a lovely spot to sit and chat. And I guess it would be a great season extender, wouldn't it?
It will be early in the spring and late in the fall. You know, they can sit in here, it's nice and warm. Mm-hmm. Some of our employees, they have the lunch in here always. Yeah. You know, they like to sit here.
Well, it's so beautifully fragrant in here, and it's just delightful to see the way you've set it up. And perhaps we should talk a little bit about that. You have a paving stone walkway so that you can walk to all corners of the pyramid, and with a larger center that you can have a table and sit and enjoy. And it certainly is wonderful. I think it's a great idea, and it's a little more decorative for somebody to put in their backyard than a conventional sort of greenhouse, isn't it?
It is a nice shape, and one thing it is here, I have no insects in here. I don't know if that a magnetic power keeps them off or what happened.
Well, that's wonderful. So here's a way to have a greenhouse without insects. Make it in a pyramid shape. Okay, well, I think that's a great idea, and it's certainly an enjoyable place to be this morning. But of course, your greenhouses are always an enjoyable place to be because they're so very, very fragrant, aren't they?
Yes, and here's an example. Our scented geraniums are getting really well known. People come from all parts because it's in the papers it's often mentioned. And this, for instance, is an apple scented geranium, and as you see, it trails, so it's very lovely in a hanging basket. And when it is, a little later, and you trim it a little bit, it becomes a real ball. You don't see the hanging basket anymore.
And of course, when you trim a scented geranium, you should never throw the trimmings away, should you?
No, you should make cuttings or dry it, and you can use it in cooking. You can use it in salads. Some people make a jelly.
You know what I like to do? I like to throw the leaves into my bath water.
Yeah. But also you can, when you bake a cake, you can line a cake pan with the leaves. The leaves will get brown when you bake it, but the imprint is pretty and the flavor has gone into the cake.
You know, many people say, do scented geraniums bloom? And they don't bloom the way the regular garden geraniums do.
I find the scented geraniums with the prettiest flowers have the least scent, Yes. Like, for instance, the apple scent is just wonderful, and it has little white flowers, as you see, but a lot of them. Yes. So the number of them makes it pretty then.
That's right. And besides, if a small leafed plant like this had great big flowers, it would be out of proportion anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But we have other plants, like, for instance, the lemon Frenchum. It grows quite tall, has a different growing habit, and it has quite pretty flowers. Yeah, as you said, they are all not flashy like other geraniums, but they have this scent, and that's...
Okay, well, what we'd like to do is talk about some of the other herbs, and we have another one here on the table. We'll just move this scented geranium over here so you can have a good sniff of it. Okay. Now, this little pot indeed looks like a very small plant, but someday this will grow to be a very large tree.
Yes, it's also called maidenhair tree, and in front of the art gallery there are several trees, and they are very hardy. They don't get diseases, and then they have medicinal value.
Tell us a little bit about the medicinal value.
Well, I tell you what it says in our catalog. It's a new one, so
okay.
I better go back to this. And it's, as I said, it's an extremely hardy tree, resilient to, resistant to pollution and disease. Right. Very attractive fan-shaped foliage. In the West, the male tree is preferred because the female
Yes.
Preferred because the female produces a foul-smelling fruit. However, the fruit contains a delicious nut, which is a delicacy in China, roasted or added to rice dishes. Medicinal ginkgo is rapidly gaining a reputation as a brain tonic.
Oh, and what part of the tree would you use as a tonic?
You make a tea from the leaves.
A tea from the leaves, okay. Now, this is going to take a while before it gets to be grown up and making fruit. Is it a male or a female? Any idea?
I cannot tell you now until it blooms.
Okay.
But in the meantime, you can use
the leaves.
It says here also, according to recent European studies, the leaf extract increases blood supply to the brain and improves neural functioning and memory. Now, I get many people and ask me for a plant for memory. Yeah. Well, that's one of them. Okay. And it becomes a tree, and it's wonderful, hardy and everything.
It's also very, very ancient.
Yes.
It is one of the most ancient of trees, isn't it?
That's a conifer tree.
Yes, really.
That.
Yes, and yet it doesn't look like a conifer, does it?
It doesn't.
Yeah. But this is really one of the most ancient trees that we have, actually. I think something like 150 million years ago it was growing.
Over before the ice time.
That's right, that's right. Okay, you referred to your catalog. Let's have a look at this. I'm sure that there are some people people who are very much like, it's a veritable wealth of
Yeah.
information.
And when people send in for the catalog, they have to add 2.50. But when they come into the greenhouse, they get it for $1.
Okay, so if you come here and pick it up, it's $1. If you write in, it's $2.50.
Because
Now,
of handling and...
yes, we understand. Now, tell us where you are located so that people might come here.
We are in Goodwood, and Goodwood is on Highway 47 between Stouffville and Uxbridge. So it's northeast of Toronto, and we are 1 mile east of Goodwood on the south side, right on Highway 47.
And if you're looking for it in the phone book, Richters is spelled R-I-C-H-T-E-R. And you'll see it, actually you'll see Richters herbs referred to many places in many articles from many different standpoints, because you also do grow organically.
Right? Yes.
And so we often see your name mentioned in connection. And you grow herbs you sell herbs rather in many different ways, don't you? I mean, besides the plants.
We sell dried herbs. Yes. We make a very good tea because I made it.
Yes. Your tea is delicious.
Yeah, and it's getting really well known. And then we have seeds.
Yes.
Ship seeds all over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
We also ship plants.
And you ship plants.
All over Canada and the States. And you know, we get the most wonderful letters from people who received our plants, and they say the plants arrived in just wonderful condition, and our packing carton is just wonderful.
You yes, well, congratulations, because you have an excellent packing system, very, very highly recommended, and I do know that indeed the herbs would just have to go well in that. Now, do you also sell fresh herbs?
We sell, well, we used to ship to Toronto, but with the traffic nowadays, the shipping is too expensive. So people come out here, and I have some restaurants, for instance, from Oshawa, and so when people just come by, I cut them, especially basil for pesto. They always love them.
You know, I had a lovely experience. I was in Holland a few weeks ago, and one evening we went to a lovely restaurant. It was a very old farm home, or had been a very old farm home in the country, and there was a beautiful garden surrounded, but a very important part of the garden, indeed, was the herb garden. And they had a beautiful chart there listing the various herbs and what recipes they were actually used in. And then when our waiter brought our meal, he explained the different herbs that actually came from their own garden. So it was really a working herb garden in conjunction with the restaurant. And don't you think every restaurant should do that?
Yeah. You know, we in London, for instance, is a restaurant, it's Petit Prince. And the whole crew comes here in the spring and roam all through the greenhouse and pick out their herbs. And then when you get into the greenhouse, you walk first through the herb garden. Yes. But I wish...
Yes, when you go to the restaurant.
You walk through the herb garden.
Yes, that's much the same as this place was too.
Yeah, I wish we had more time for you know, all those things. But we spend an awful lot of time to explain herbs to people, because most of them just don't know about it. And when you use herbs not right, you can have problems. So
yes, if you put the wrong herb in the wrong dish, it would be.
Also with the medicinal herbs, you know.
Yes.
I had one time a young girl, a woman wanted comfrey leaves. Yes. Dried comfrey leaves, and they were sold out, so I told her, go into the next greenhouse and get fresh ones. She can use them fresh and then dry the rest. And she came back with foxglove leaves.
Oh dear.
Now this is poisonous, so you really have to know what you're doing. You have to have the right labeling. Yes. It's very, very important. Right. But the usual culinary herbs are all, you know, people always ask me, can I use this here and there? I said, yes, you have to try it carefully in a small part of your dish. And then when you like it, then it's right. It's not poisonous.
Right. Okay, what I'd like to talk about are some of the plants that you have used in between the paving stones. Now, I noticed that people are beginning to do a lot more of that. You know, interlocking stone is wonderful, but it gets a little monotonous after a while, and people are looking for plants that they can plant in between the stones that soften the effect. What are some of the things that you have used in this greenhouse?
Well, I used thyme. You know, we have creeping thyme, we have the wild thyme, we have the golden thyme.
It was a bit higher,
Yeah,
we
but
have a nice lemon thyme that's lovely, and the caraway thyme, and when you step on them, it's just wonderful.
And they don't mind being stepped on?
No, they don't.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't want children to be constantly riding tricycles back and forth over them.
Even that wouldn't
No?
matter.
No?
yeah.
The only thing is that you don't rip them out. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then this is all for sunny places, and then it's also Roman chamomile is very nice for it because it makes a really thick cover, and you could even cut it with a lawnmower because when the flower stems come out.
Okay. The other thing that's happening a great deal in gardening is ground covers, where people don't have large properties and they want to have a patio and a garden, and there's really not enough room to put a lawn to bother getting a lawnmower. So they're putting in ground covers, and what would you recommend for that?
For a sunny area is a Roman chamomile or thyme.
Yes.
And then we have this rapture bird.
Yes.
That grows very nicely, and
Okay.
then for shady areas is sweet woodruff.
Yes.
That makes a lovely color.
Yes. Go ahead. And the sweet woodruff is at the back here in the side corner, and it's blooming right now.
Yeah, but now outside it wouldn't grow so tall, and it wouldn't bloom yet, but later on. Every tip has a white flower and looks very pretty, and you know you can use it very well in May wine.
In May wine?
May wine.
What's
In
May
Europe
wine?
they use it a lot. It's a punch.
Yes.
And then you put sweet woodruff, and you can add some fruit, and so you have a bottle of wine, and then you can add even champagne, and you really have a party going.
Yeah. So that's sweet woodruff. Yes?
Sweet woodruff is an exhilarating plant.
Ah,
So.
well, I know it makes me feel good just when I smell the beautiful aroma of it, so that's wonderful.
But you shouldn't make a tea from it.
No, not a tea. No. So there's a great deal to learn. And when one wants to get into herbs, one has to do some research. Well, I'd like you to tell us more about some of the herbs that are here. A beautiful clump of chives growing here. You know, chives is wonderful in many dishes, but I just love the way it looks in a garden. It's very pretty, isn't it?
It's very pretty, and you know you can use the flowers too.
Oh, how do you use the flowers?
Often when I run over to cook a fast meal and I don't have much time, so I pick some flowers and rip the florets off.
Yes.
And drop them in soups or salads.
Ah,
And they have the
neat.
same flavor, and,
Oh, neat.
and then you can use them as decoration. Now, a lot of talk is always about flowers in cooking.
Edible flowers in
Right.
salads.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this clump right beside it here has
It's-
much wider leaves.
It's garlic chives. At first it has very small leaves, and later it gets wider leaves, and it blooms white. And it's
Okay.
also, you can use it
And
the same way in cooking.
and tastes just like garlic.
And also it tastes very much of garlic, but you don't smell of garlic after you've eaten it.
Oh, very, very good.
I would like to mention,
Yes.
next year we will have mauve flowering garlic chive and yellow flowering garlic chive.
Ah,
That's new for
that's
next year.
great. Okay. Now, I know you want to talk about this plant that's sitting here in the
Gotucola, yeah.
Yes.
Gotucola is a plant that you should use 2 leaves a day, and it has an effect on your memory, in fact on your whole brain.
And 2 leaves a day. You just eat them?
Yeah, you chop them up and put them on your sandwich or in your salad. You know, I had Chinese people here, and they knew right away what it was all about.
Yeah, okay. You know, one plant that I love
But
is
I want to mention one thing too. It's not hardy, so it has to come back in.
Okay.
Can I mention something about a gotucola? I had some Chinese people here, and they said the elephant, they eat a lot of gotucola, you know.
That's why the
That's the
elephant
reason
has
why they
such a-
don't forget.
Ah, okay, very good. Now, tell me about this plant, sweet Cicely. It's beautiful. I have a little one at home, so I can tell you, I only live, 4 miles from here, and my little sweet Cicely in the garden is only about 5-6 inches high.
Next year it will be bigger.
Okay.
It grows into quite a big
But the
plant.
thing is, when I was in Holland, indeed, this is like a ground cover all over the place, growing wild.
It's a hardy plant.
Yes. How do you use sweet Cicely?
Now, every part of the plant is sweet. So when you want to cook, for instance, rhubarb, you can use the leaves or the
Or
seeds.
the stem?
And yes,
Can you chop the stem up?
and save half the sugar.
Ah.
But you know, like you see the seeds now, when you take them now and chew them, I'll let you do that now. They are sweet, and you can chew them like candy.
Oh, sort of a lovely licorice flavor.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Lovely. Highly recommend Sweet Sicily seed pods.
Yeah.
Young sweet seed.
But we have to save them because we sell a lot of sweet Sicily seeds.
So if somebody wanted to cut down on their sugar content, they could add Sweet Sicily to their cooking.
Right.
Diabetic.
Yeah, it's
Diabetic.
very important for diabetics.
Oh, these are lovely. Good. Now, there's some other things we want to talk about. I think, I know one thing. These tiles that you have plants planted in, that's a very good way to, yes, that's a very good way to grow invasive plants.
Mint, for instance, yeah. Because when normally they crawl around on the, on the ground and make roots, and so they really invade. But here, when they drop over, you just can always cut them back and control them.
That's right, and their roots don't get into everything.
Right.
Very good. Behind you, you have a lovely tree. Would you like to? Can you bring that out for us? It's not in the ground. It's sitting out, and I think we could have it here in front of us. And tell us a little bit. I know you have lots of these trees in varying stages and sizes. Tell us a little about it.
That is our bay tree, sweet bay.
Sweet bay.
The leaves are used for cooking. You can use it green or dried.
Yeah, but it's not much nicer when the people use it fresh.
Much nicer fresh?
Because, they are still soft. When you have dried ones, they can crack up and you get a piece in your throat.
That's right, that's right. But you know what I like about it? When it's big like this and it's a tree form, you could have it in your living room instead of a ficus or a, or a schefflera or something.
Yeah, it doesn't need full sun, but it likes good light. And in a house it likes to be misted, but it makes a lovely house plant.
Beside that, it keeps the spiders away. No spider will go near a tree.
Really?
In the olden days, the farmer used the leaves, they put it between the grain to keep the beetles out.
I still do that. I put in my cupboards where I keep
your grain
cereal and flour, and so you can put it right in the flour because the scent doesn't go into the flour. The scent comes, really off when you heat it.
Okay.
So and I have not one weevil.
No weevils.
No.
Very good. I love this lovely plant over here. Now this is a kind of fennel, isn't it?
It's a bronze fennel.
Bronze fennel.
Yeah.
And so its leaves are always that gorgeous gray bronze color?
Really bronze, yeah.
Yes.
And then the lovely yellow flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the greenhouse, we have big bushes, and it's so lovely when, really big plant, and then the yellow flowers, it's just so decorative.
And that's a perennial?
It's a perennial,
and yet, can you use all parts of it?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's a tender perennial.
A tender perennial. You'd have to put it in a, it wouldn't overwinter too well? No.
Oh,
okay. Now, you know what I see? Back here in the corner, there's an interesting plant tucked away in there, and that's a plant that's had a lot of popularity recently, isn't it?
Ginseng?
The ginseng.
It's American ginseng. Yeah.
Yes, tell us about the American ginseng.
Well, it's not much to say. Everybody reads it in the paper and sees the pills.
It's also a plant that has an effect on your brain, on your memory.
Isn't it supposed to be something that keeps you young?
And they also say it's an aphrodisiac.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember when Live It Up
And
filmed,
is it an aphrodisiac?
when Live It Up filmed here, he asked me, I said, I wouldn't know. I only know it makes you feel good, and I think when you feel good, everything works all right.
Yes, that's very good. And I know you're very fond of the... Yes?
That is the Siberian ginseng.
Oh, okay.
That particular one here.
She has the same 5-part leaf.
Oh, yes,
but
right.
It grows into a bush.
I see.
Yeah, the bush is quite thorny, the stems.
Yes, it is thorny.
The roots are used, and the Russian astronauts using these when they go up.
Oh, really?
That's right. It is very widely used in Russia. That seed comes from Russia.
Okay. And it's the roots we use, isn't it?
The roots we use.
Yes.
Right.
While you're back in there,
Yeah.
This gorgeous bush with the yellow flowers. Tell me about that.
That's your celandine. Celandine?
I'm
Yeah.
going to tromp on the
Oh, yeah,
as
okay,
well.
okay, it's all right.
Yes, okay.
It's also used for poison ivy. You put it on your hand.
Ah, look how orange the juice
Yeah,
is.
yeah, the juice.
The sap, rather.
And also getting warts, you know, you
Yes.
put those on.
Ah.
That is celandine.
And this is a perennial.
That's a perennial.
Yes, certainly.
Now
I've
this-
seen it growing wild, but that's a good one to know. Yes.
Yeah. This here's orris roots.
Yes. Now it looks to the unpracticed eye, it looks just like a garden iris.
Yeah. But it's definitely the orris roots.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the orris root is people grind that up to use
For potpourri.
Yes, for
It's a
potpourri.
fixative for potpourri.
Right. And you just so you can grow it yourself and just take the root and dry it and then grind it up.
Right. Yes.
Very good, very good. Okay, well, we could go on here for a long time, but I think I know this is a busy time of year, and we've spent a great part of your day, and we have to get out of the way now and let you get to work. No, I want you to tell me how many years that you two have been doing this.
It's our 20th anniversary, and we started out in Locust Hill, just the two of us working away.
Yeah.
And then at night and in the afternoon, the children would come and help us.
Yes.
And then the first article written about us was in '69.
June 1969.
And it was a star, and one star.
Yes.
And it has never stopped. They
Would
still write about us.
Right. Would you just show us the catalog again, please, Mrs. Richter?
Yeah.
And if people would like to obtain this catalog, they could send $2.50 to, and what's the address?
Richters Herbs, Goodwood, Ontario. It's enough. They could say box 26, but
Okay.
and LOC 1AO.
Very good. And I want to thank the two of you for letting me come here this morning and have such a wonderful way to start the day. And I hope this pyramid power stays with me all day.
Oh, yes, it was.
Thank you. Do join us again next week for more on Let's Get Growing.